Thank you for joining us for live paranormal radio. From the paranormal to the unexplained, it all happens here. It all happens here. Looking to enhance your radio experience? Participate in our live video chat 24/7 with our live paranormal radio show hosts and other like-minded people. Live. Paranormal.com, the only interactive social chat room supported by Full Interaction Media. Stop by now and join the fun. Stop by now and join the fun.
Yeah, that's right, liveparanormal.com. Let's join the fun. We are going to have a lot of fun with Erik, who is being translated by Kim Babcock. Hey, Kim, how you doing?
Hello, I'm wonderful. Looking forward to this show tonight.
Me too. Hi, Erik, sweetie. How are you doing? You ready to help some people?
He says, I'm always ready, Mom. When I was listening to the intro, I could see Erik coming in and totally digging the intro, and he was like doing karate moves. So I think he's fired up tonight. So I hope you guys are too.
Oh, he used to take Taekwondo. He was terrible at it, but
wow.
Toward the end of his life, I remember that I committed to taking Krav Maga classes with him. So we still have the equipment and stuff. He was a very manly man, so it was really fun.
Oh.
So, look, before I ask you about what you're going to talk about today, Erik, this whole thing with the Egypt Air crash, what happened?
Ooh, he's rubbing his chin like he's contemplating. He says electronic failure. So, as you guys probably know, I don't watch the news, so I don't even know what we're talking about or referring to. But Erik says electronic failure.
Okay.
He just keeps repeating that. He's not giving a whole lot.
Yeah, well, that's good enough. You don't think it's terrorism then, Erik?
He's not commenting. He's leaning more towards a no, but he's not talking much about it.
Well, he must not watch the news either. Erik, you need to go down and find that black box and, check it out, listen to it, and find out what's going on. But, the way it was moving, it turned to the left, real hard, and then did a 360 turn to the right. It looked like almost there was a struggle in the cockpit, but I don't know. I have no idea, and nobody really knows. Nobody's claimed, like Al-Qaeda, ISIS has not claimed any terrorist action. So we'll just wait, and I'll ask you later.
Ooh, interesting. Yeah, I'll have to tune into the news for a hot minute too and see what's up.
Nah, you don't want to. It's not good for you, Kim.
Yeah,
anyway,
probably not.
I'm going to share what Erik wants to talk about by just saying what he said with his own little filthy mouth. On this show, I want to talk about beliefs, especially religious ones, how they can create facades, and how some people even use them as a fucking defense mechanism. Do you kiss your mama with that mouth? Do you kiss your mama with that mouth? Huh?
He's yelling and he goes, "That's right, Mama Madhouse, you tell him." So, guys, he's fired up about this one, and I hope that you guys are ready because it may ruffle some feathers. It may kind of make you think twice about your beliefs and your, conditioning and even what you've been exposed to growing up as far as religion is concerned.
But
that's what we're going to talk about tonight.
Please. No hate mail. Please don't shoot the messenger.
Yeah, for real, guys. We're just trying to bring perspective. All in love.
Right.
All in love. All right. Well, shall we? Shall we get started so we can get into some more callers tonight?
Yeah, come on, Erik. Well, Erik, tell us about what you want to talk about.
Oh, my gosh. He's flexing both of his arms. He's like, well, we could talk about my body, my muscles.
Oh, boy.
But anyhow, just being a goofball. So, all right, he says, he sat down and got real serious. He says, all right, there's a lot I want to talk about, but the main concept here is religion. Religious background, how that's brought us to where we are today, and if I can open your eyes a little bit, how that can move you into a better form of yourself through a different eye, through a different lens, he says. He says, all too often, people... Listen, guys, I'm going to give you this one more time. No hate mail, because he's about to get real.
Uh-oh. He's going to throw down. Throw down, Erik.
He says, all too often, nowadays, people have religion almost like a card in their pocket, and they pull it out when it's convenient. But they don't always use it like it's supposed to be used. It's not the avenue. It's not used like it's supposed to be, he says.
And how is it supposed to be used? Yeah.
He says, what I mean by that is some people, he says it's pretty much black and white nowadays, just the way society has formulated religions. He says it can either be your best friend or your worst enemy, and here's why. He says for some people it actually is religion in which they use religion to find themselves. They use religion to find connection to a greater source than what they are. And that leads to feeling connected to hope, being able to have hope and faith and, all of the good things that go along with those words. But then it can also be your worst enemy. And most of the time when it's your worst enemy, people don't even know it. They don't even realize it. And the way that I see that, he says, is a lot of times people, he says, these are the people that keep it in their card or in their pocket like it's a card, and they pull it out when it's convenient. Yeah, well, I'm Catholic, and this is what we think, and this is what we believe. Or maybe it's Baptist or Presbyterian, whatever it may be, but pulling it out when it's convenient and almost using that as, he says, a fucking defense mechanism rather than an avenue to, you guys follow me here for a minute. He says an avenue to get high, but what he means is connect to a higher source. So talking about your vibration here. So he says a lot of times people, if they get questioned on their actions, or if they get questioned or moved to a place that's uncomfortable, that's when they're real quick to whip out that card and say, yep, this is who I am, this is my religious belief. But they don't live and walk the true essence of that. So he says, well, there's nothing wrong with having...
Of that? Yeah, what is the true essence of that, Erik? What is the true essence then?
He says, well, it doesn't matter what avenue you take, Mom, meaning what religion, but what matters is knowing yourself through the process and finding a natural connection, because it's not... oh, boy. Oh, he says, he says, religions as we know them now have all sorts of rules and stipulations that say how you can love and how you can't love. And he says God's a lot bigger than that. God doesn't have those rules that hold you back from love. Love is supposed to be infinite and ever-flowing, but now we can't let that happen through different religions. So to find the true essence of you and your connection with God, he says sometimes for some people that's best done through religion because of difficulty with finding self. So that's when they have a true connection with the religion and finding their self in that process. But then others are too much in self, too much in ego, and almost using religion as like a cover-up. And he says that this is when you find people, Mom, that are almost afraid of themselves or afraid to think for themselves, to think outside the box. Fear is born, too, from certain religions. And even people that are like diehards, he says. Some people that are diehards in their own religion have never stepped outside of that to think for themselves and even just feel for themselves. Rather, they've always practiced what they've been told. And then he kind of stops, and Erik says, being told is one thing, but experiencing and feeling is a whole nother thing. And that's what I'm getting at. He says, think about God and being, and then he just stopped there. God is being. Not necessarily like a being, but God is being. God is life. God is existence. So it doesn't matter necessarily what avenue you take to get there, as long as you trust and kind of step out on your own and experience that connection with yourself. Trust how you experience God and how you know God, because Erik says, and he's using this really direct tone, so again, he says at the end of the day, it doesn't matter what anybody tells you, teaches you, or preaches to you. What matters is what you've experienced, what you have felt, and what you know to be true. And sometimes when you allow yourself to think for yourself and feel for yourself outside of religion, sometimes a true connection is born. Old connections die off, and that can be pretty earth-shattering for some people. He says, so take a real good hard look at yourself and ask yourself, are you one that religion has been your best friend? There's a little more he wants to discuss too, but we'll get there in a minute. He says, is religion your best friend and has truly opened you up? Or are you that person that uses religion almost like a defense mechanism and a security blanket? He says, if you do use it as
I know a lot of people like that. I do
too, and it's really sad because you see that they truly are afraid to sort of think for themselves and even just question what they feel connected to.
And sometimes they tend to be hypocrites in their religion because they don't really experience their beliefs on a soul level, they don't really have ownership. So it's much easier to go against those beliefs and be like mean-spirited or judgmental when God says that we shouldn't judge and we should love all.
Yeah, that's so true. And then, too, Mom, he says all across the board, it doesn't matter if you're practicing Hinduism, Judaism, Catholicism. He says it doesn't matter what you're practicing, but there's a common thread among every single religion. We're all seeking a higher source. We're all seeking a connection to the divine. There's a common thread among them all. So he says whether you like to admit it or not, you have to realize and you have to be able to face the fact that you've all experienced it at one point or another, that religion creates division. So if you can open yourselves up enough to accept the differences among religion, but rather accept a connection with God and yourself first before, this is rough.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, just because, I don't want to be getting no hate mail. But he says, if you can accept, you've got to accept your connection with the divine first before any sort of religious practice is even going to make sense to you. You have to know your connection to the divine first. Because if you don't search inside your heart first and at least open up, nothing else is going to connect. Nothing else is going to make sense. So he says, I encourage all of you to start thinking for yourselves, trust for yourselves, and don't be afraid to question and want to experience something on your own, outside of the roof of this religion or that religion. You don't have to be under those different blankets anymore, to really know the divine. He says, and just remember, God is everything. God is being. So it doesn't matter what avenue you take to get there, as long as you have intentions to align to get there.
Well, that's beautiful.
He shook his head no, and he looked down and wiped his brow. He's like, phew. He's like, I don't know about that. I said, I don't know. I think you're going to ruffle some feathers.
Well, that's okay. Like I say, I'm not going to read my hate mail.
Yeah, but it's true what he says, though. I mean, I have seen and experienced those people, I guess, at times. I never really thought about it like that. But I have seen those people that you don't necessarily see them say anything or practice anything about a certain religion until it's time to be on the defense. And then they whip out that card, like Erik said, and it's like, but hey, this is my religion. These are my beliefs. But Erik says, why are these your beliefs? Is it because you've experienced it and you know that as truth to you? Or is it because it's how you've been raised or conditioned? So he's saying it's all about soul-searching, people. He says it's all about searching for your connection with the divine and what that means on a really intimate level to you. So hope that a lot of you guys understand what he's saying, and I hope that, you know, it helps all of you guys listening find a higher connection with the divine, because I know sometimes religion provides a lot of hope. I know other times it can create confusion. So above all else, I encourage all of you to take his advice and, you know, search for yourself what that connection means to you.
Yep, a lot of soul searching necessary. That's awesome, Erik. Very powerful words.
He says, no doubt. He says, look at you, Mom. He says, look at the way that you were raised.
I know.
If it wasn't for you being, you know, open enough and willing to do your own soul searching, where would you be as far as, and he's using like air quotes with his fingers, religion is concerned? Would you have beliefs? Would you have grown? And it's because you chose, and he's like tapping on your chest, your heart. You chose, he says.
Sure. It was very hard to even think about, you know, adopting the atheist beliefs of my mother and father, because that would mean losing you. Mm-hmm. You know?
Yeah. Wow.
Well, are you ready to take some calls?
He says, I am, Mom, but first I hope you know how much I love you.
I love you too,
sweetie.
Very much. All right, well, I want everybody to try to keep it to 5 minutes with their questions, because we're going to try to take more callers than we usually do. So many people have been so patient. First, we're going to start out with somebody from the 330 area code. Hi, this is Elisa. Who are you?
Hey, it's Kiki. Hey.
Hi, Kiki.
Just wanted to say hi to Erik. Hi. And I'll be quick, you know, so other people can get a chance. But hi, Erik. And I was hoping this time that maybe Erik can just bring in my higher self to have a little mini come to Jesus talk with me. Nothing major, just real short and sweet. Am I on the right path? Anything, words of wisdom I need to know about?
Awesome. Yeah, absolutely. He greets you. He says, hey, Miss Thang.
Hey.
Miss Thang.
Oh, my goodness. All right. So in talking with your higher self, generally what he does is he's going to spotlight, help your higher self kind of come in and spotlight some things that you should focus on. You know, always Erik's intentions and your higher self is to bring you to a better version of yourself. This is what I heard. Ooh, there's a lot of change. Ooh, I just keep feeling this discomfort, like, ooh, I'm getting moved this way and ooh, moved that way. It seems like you're going through and experiencing a lot of newness, a lot of change, like new experiences, and now it's time to reflect. Now it's time to actually just truly take time to observe yourself through some of these changes that you've gone through. What does it mean to you? How does it sort of define you, and allow learning to occur through that. So right now, whatever you're going through, there's a lot of changes that I'm sensing, and you really need to your higher self says to take time to observe and reflect. And then also if you sort of like if you feel extra motivation, then even ask where these changes are coming from, where these changes are coming, deriving from. So, but take time to observe the changes that you're going through and where they're coming from.
Right. And I think I've, done that, work and new business venture. So I presume that's what they're talking about, correct?
Ooh. Probably. Neither one of them are specific in what is changing, but they just say that you're going through a lot of change, and some of it feels uncomfortable or unfamiliar. So through that's where you need to just observe, take time to observe yourself and learn from this newness, these changes, because it's going to bring out new sides of you, new parts of your personality, just to pay attention to how you adapt to change.
Okay. That's awesome, Kiki.
Yeah.
Sounds like he's right on.
Thank you.
Thanks for calling in.
I just hear like
Kiki.
doom, doom, doom. Thank you. Bye, you guys.
Thanks for calling.
Bye.
Bye.
All right. Let's try 910 area code. Hey, how are you?
Hey, how you doing?
Who am I speaking with?
This is Billy.
Hi, Billy. What's up?
Not too much. I just wanted to ask. I was wanting to ask just what the lady just asked before. What my higher self has to say about a message or anything for me.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for calling
I love that
in,
question.
Billy. Okay, so just like the previous caller, generally your higher self is going to spotlight some things that you need to focus on. There's two things that your higher self is just mentioning and trying to point out. First and foremost, confidence. There's a huge lack of security in who you are and confidence. But somehow I feel like that's related to the past, or there's still troubled emotions because of the past, some past events that you've been through that you're still carrying.
Like childhood? Like childhood events, or events as an adult, or?
I actually feel like it's both. It feels like there's an extensive, difficult past, and there's heavy emotions being carried tied to the past, and that has a part to do with the security and your confidence in who you are. So look at the ways that you're attached to the emotional distress related to the past, and in whatever ways you can, find ways to let go of that and let go of ownership of those emotions. That's going to bring you more into the here and now, and then when you do that, you're going to be able to focus a little bit better on security in who you are, just being confident in who you are now and moving forward, because I feel like there's a lot of just hesitancy, insecurity. So it's all about building your confidence in whatever way you can. So hopefully this resonates with you, Billy. I hope that it makes sense, and I surely hope that it helps.
Well, Billy,
yes,
I will share something with you, Billy. I had a very rough childhood, and just really a brutal one. And, I sort of got stuck in the past and the emotions related to the past for a long time, and my self-confidence was pretty low. But then I learned that I needed to find out what lessons there were in those struggles. And once I found what I learned from it, then I was able to be grateful for it, sort of embrace it, and then let it go. Like, because of my brutal childhood, I learned how to be assertive. I learned how to be more compassionate, more nurturing. I became a better mother. And, I'm grateful for that. I really am. I don't know what kind of person I would have been if I had not had those struggles. I would have been probably a shallow, selfish bore. Who knows?
Oh.
Yeah.
Do you understand what's coming through, and does it make sense to you, Billy? I hope that it's resonating with you. I also feel I have to throw this in. I hope it's okay. I keep hearing the word betrayal. So I feel like this is something, something you've gone through in the past that you're still dealing with. Feeling betrayed by somebody, someone, or some sort of event. Even sometimes I've even seen people feel betrayed by the universe or their own intuition. So there's something having to do with feeling betrayed too that you need to focus on working through and letting go, so that you can focus on you here and now and kind of build confidence. So.
Okay.
All right, Billy, I hope that helps you, baby.
Okay. Thank you.
Thanks, Billy.
Thanks, Billy.
Thanks for calling.
Take care.
Thank you.
All
Bye-bye.
right, we're gonna take a call from the person named Anonymous. But first, I want to give a shout out to liveparanormal.com for giving us this platform to have our wonderful show. Anonymous, let's see who we got here. Hello, Anonymous. Are you there? Can you hear us?
Hello? Maybe they really
Anonymous?
want to be anonymous.
Maybe so.
Hello?
Hi, there you are. What's your name?
Hi. This is Rabia. Can you hear me?
Yes.
I can hear you.
What question do you have? Rabia, what question do you have for Erik?
I just wanted to see if he could bring up my grandmother. She passed away last year in October.
No, we don't actually bring forward deceased loved ones anymore. You can ask Erik questions, but there's a process that we have to go through that involves a lot of validation and so on. Can you think of something else?
Right. Yeah. I could. If Erik could just let me know about my education and career and kind of give me some sort of direction, because I feel really lost with that right now.
Yeah. There we go.
Absolutely. That's a great question. Erik says, for you, he says right now there's a couple things you need to focus on so that you can get clarity on what you want to focus on as far as career is concerned. But for you, he says that you're going through, he says emotionally you carry a lot of sadness and disappointment. So to me this feels like disappointment on a larger scale, almost like disappointed with the way my life is, or disappointed with my family, or the way my community or society is. But he says that you're carrying these lower vibrations in your energy that doesn't serve you, and it's kind of fogging your clarity on keeping you connected to or feeling aligned with, like what does make you motivated and what sets you on fire and gets you excited about. So that's why, he says, oftentimes that's why people have a hard time, knowing what to focus on, is because they allow their attention and their focus to get distorted by, like current events, social events happening around them, and then they internalize those lower vibrational emotions. So even though there may be things happening around you that are difficult emotionally, make sure, sometimes you can internalize them, process them, and let them go, but don't internalize them and then keep them there. He says you're holding on to a lot. And he says to restore your own faith in yourself, because you, he says, girl, you're really lacking there. He says you've got to trust yourself and restore faith in yourself, because if you don't believe in you, excuse me, it's going to be hard to be successful at anything. He says, so you really have to work on that truly.
Well, how does she do that? That's easier said than done. How does she accomplish that?
Mm-hmm.
He says just by asking yourself a series of questions, and this is all about the grounding process. So asking yourself questions and kind of ruling out what is important to you, what isn't. It's about prioritizing for you specifically, he says. Prioritizing where you want to spend your time, what you want to put your focus into. He says, because you don't take offense to this, but he says you're kind of lofty in feeling connected to anything right now. So that all is, you need to ground yourself back into what sets you apart from others, what sets you on fire to you, meaning like what defines you. So, and then he's going up a level. So that's his way of saying also, too, just like the last caller, to really focus on confidence and trust in yourself, because he makes me feel like even if you do make a decision, I don't know that you believe in yourself to see it through or trust in yourself to completely see it through. So whatever you decide to study, make sure that you're aligned with it too, he says, because you've got to ground yourself in that. And basically it's just feeling connected to it, feeling a connection to it. So let's say if you went to study art, you don't really have much of an interest and you just have to force yourself to do it. Obviously there's no connection there. Or let's say, it's studying culinary arts, but then you really feel excited about this. There's a connection there. He says you got to start asking yourself what you're really drawn to, and start asking yourself how you want to spend time there. Prioritize it and trust. He says when you make your decision, trust that you're going to see it through, because that apprehension is a lot of, he says, is a big, he says that's a big booger. That's the reason why a lot of people don't finish school, because they may even make that decision, but they don't believe in themselves to follow it through. So there's this
I hope that helps you.
Yeah, definitely. I was thinking of doing psychology. Could Erik just say anything about that?
What do you think, Erik? Psychology? That's a fascinating subject.
It really is. This is, when I asked him, if this is going to be a great thing for you, his energy gets really strong, and he's tapping on his heart. So this is a big fat yes, but I think you're going to be really motivated once you start digging your nails into it and really getting a grasp of it. He says you're really going to kind of skyrocket.
What a great way to not only figure people out in your life or outside of your life, but even to figure yourself out. So that's great. Well, thanks for calling in.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you. Thank you all.
Thank you.
That's fascinating, yeah. Psychology.
Yeah, I know when
my daughter...
Go ahead.
Well, Annika is a psychology major and a pre-med major, and man, she comes home with some stuff that is just so fascinating. It's like, gosh, human beings are so complicated.
Yeah, no kidding. I know when I took psychology, that was a huge trigger for me in my spiritual awakening. And I think it was my teacher. My teacher was extremely intuitive, and she would look at me and say things that I was thinking. I mean, she blew my mind, and that kind of triggered my own personal awakening. So it's pretty cool.
That's neat. All right, 919 area code. Let's see who we have here. Hey, 919 area code.
Hello?
Who am I talking to? Hi.
This is Vanessa.
Hi, Vanessa.
Hello?
Welcome.
Hi, you here?
Hi.
Welcome.
First of all, thank you. Yeah, I love all you guys. Thanks for taking my call.
Oh, we love you too.
I have a couple of quick questions. I do want to ask about my higher self, but first, could I find out the names of my guides?
Ooh, that's a fun question.
Erik
rubs his Erik rubs his hands together. He's like, sure, why not? So there's two that he's bringing forward that he's going to try to name for you. So he's like rolling his eyes, but he's being playful. He's like, you humans, you need those names. That's an attachment. Helps us connect and identify. So there's a male and female that he brings forward. The male coming the female coming in. He says you can call Emma or Emily. Emily or Emmy. Emily. He keeps repeating that. So Erik right now is just identifying two permanent guides, and he says this is your feminine and masculine energy balance. I've never really heard him refer to him like that, but that's pretty cool. And then the gentleman that comes forward, I think I'm pronouncing this correctly. It looks like Juan. It's Juan. So hopefully I'm pronouncing that correctly. Eric says he tips his head to the side. And he says, but you can call him Jay if you want. But this is, these are two permanent guides that are going to continue to work with you for the rest of this incarnation to help continue to balance the feminine and masculine energies that you carry. And there's so much that goes into that. And then as far as your higher self is concerned, we can bring in your higher self, and your higher self is encouraging you to, this is interesting. Sometimes it's funny because when your higher self comes in, it can really reflect the personality that you carry here in this incarnation. And I hear a lot of laughter. So you must be somebody who is either very funny or is just laughing a lot or just on that higher vibration. But anyhow, the strongest thing for you to focus on is intuition. I'm seeing everything yellow, so encouraging you to not only spend time there and trusting and developing your intuition, but honoring it, because I feel like you're already having intuitive feelings, but now it's time to really just put that into motion.
But what does yellow have to do with it? Erik, what does the yellow have to do with it?
Yellow is, that's symbolic. That's how they kind of communicate that to me. Yellow is your solar plexus chakra, and that represents your intuitive area. So that's why they would show me everything yellow. So generally when they do that, that's their way of saying that you need to kind of revitalize that area. If they show me that color that correlates with that chakra, that energy center.
How does she do that?
Basically that part of you. You can do this in so many ways. Some of the coolest ways are, some of the easiest ways is to drink and eat yellow, anything yellow on that vibration, to eat or drink yellow. But one of my favorites, it's going to sound crazy, but there are tuning forks that would be tuned to different keys, and yellow actually has a sound. It has its own vibration. So singing bowls or tuning forks too can play a certain note that's going to give the right sort of energetic vibration to that area. Eric's like, God, shut up. He's like, you're so wordy right now.
Well, I know that I've found on iTunes different chakra healing or balancing type tones, and you can find them for each, like the solar plexus, the root chakra, etc. Would that be something she can look into, buying one of those little, balance the solar plexus chakra? Would that help?
Yeah, he says absolutely. It's just the key. It's just the note. So I think the heart is like F, the crown is A. I'm not sure what the solar plexus is, but there's so many, and they're even on YouTube also. I mean, you can get these for free. They're all over the place. But just to keep your chakras in tune with the vibrations, sometimes that's the easiest way, and it's pretty fun too, because you really tune into it and you can start to feel the energies move. So from your higher self, focus on kind of developing and strengthening your solar plexus, your intuition.
Thank you so much. That helped me a lot.
You're so welcome.
Thank you,
Thank you for calling.
Thank you.
Bye.
Have a good night.
All right, now we have somebody from the 210. Is that San Antonio? Is 210, is that a San Antonio? I'm not really sure. Hi, 210 area code. Can you hear me?
Hello.
Hi, how are you doing?
I'm okay.
Where are you calling from?
I am calling from San Antonio.
Oh my God!
Wow,
I got it right.
I'm impressed.
Miracles do happen. Yes, I love San Antonio. It's awesome.
Oh,
what's your first name?
What's
your first name?
Anna.
Hi, Anna. How are you?
I am doing fabulous. Thank you so much for taking my call.
I'm so glad. I'm so glad.
I love you guys. To the moon and back. You're so awesome. anyway, I'm going to keep it short too, and it must be the theme for the night because my question is also about higher self and messages and guides and direction. And I mean, hi Erik, just hit me with whatever you want because I'm open. So
he's so funny. He goes, he tilted his head and like mocked back at you, like you said, I mean, hi, Erik. He goes, I mean, hi, lady. He's like shaking his hip. Okay, so he's gonna get real deep, real fast with this message. This is coming from Erik. He says, if I could tell you anything right now to sort of bring you to a better version of yourself, it would be this. To understand, no matter what circumstance you're going through, no matter what circumstances you're experiencing, nothing can disrupt the essence of your being if you don't let it. He says you have to remember that. And sorry, he keeps calling himself Daddy Medhus, like he's going to give you like fatherly guidance.
Who's your daddy?
Yeah,
Who's
seriously.
your daddy, Anna?
Erik's my daddy.
But he says, understand the essence of your being, know it. That way you can truly know and have a firm grasp on not letting outside circumstances affect the essence of who you are. Basically what he's saying in short is to develop boundaries. He says you need to evaluate certain areas of your life, and he's like, hint, and you really need to step up and grow some teeth and set some boundaries because sometimes you're too nice. He says, try to find balance with that. And I know he doesn't like using that word balance because he's like, most of the time it's an illusion anyway, but in this case, there can be an imbalance. We can have too many walls up trying to create boundaries, but other times none at all. So just make sure it's even. But he says, he looked at me, he said, I don't think she understands like her own divine self, like that you are divine. So this to me also sounds like a message of acknowledging your self-worth. And you have to find that value first before you can prove it or share it with anybody else. Do you understand that? Do you see what he's saying? And hopefully, are you on the same page?
Well, it sounds familiar. So I think I understand.
What specifically can she do as far as boundaries is concerned, Erik?
He has one index finger up, and he's exaggerating the motion, like shaking your hand no. So don't spread yourself too thin, and know when to say no. You can only get so much done. You can only do so much. So know when to say no. And then also, he's talking about your efforts. He's making me feel like it's almost like you're trying. Well, I don't take offense to this or anything, but it almost seems like you're trying to show others your worth, like through your actions, almost like prove yourself. And this almost to me feels like I'm trying to get accepted or feel accepted. This could be among anywhere. This could be, in a community, among a group of friends, or at a church council or something. But he says no one's going to know your worth until you do, until you align with it. So really take a step back and evaluate what you mean to you, and start to cherish that. And also give self TLC, he says. Take time for yourself. This is long overdue, he says.
Wow.
You deserve it, Anna. You really do.
Yeah? Oh, well,
yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. And
I'm talking
you,
about a bubble bath with some champagne right now, girl.
Yeah.
Light your candles too, and say, "Hell yeah, I'm worth this." That's what you need to do.
Yeah, absolutely. And know that you're a divine being with incredible worth. It's really important for you to know that, because when Erik, he looked at me and he got real serious and raised his eyebrows. He said, I don't think she realizes that she's divine. So it may sound surface level, it may sound cliche, but he's very serious and very genuine in that message to you. So don't ever let anybody or any circumstances make you think or feel otherwise.
Thanks for calling, Anna.
That's very powerful. Thank you. You guys have a wonderful night. I love you.
Thank you. We love you. We love you.
Bye.
Thanks. Bye-bye.
Bye. All right. Let's take a call from the 801 area code. I have no idea where that's from, but maybe the caller can tell me. It's in Alaska, right? No, it's in Nevada. No, I don't know. Where are you from?
Hi.
Where are you from, girl?
I'm from Utah.
Well, I was kind of close with the Nevada thing, but okay.
You were kind of close.
Yeah.
Better than me.
What's your first name?
Noelle.
Hi, Noelle. What a beautiful name.
Yeah.
Thank
what would you like to ask Erik?
Well, first I just have a comment to follow up from something that Erik said to the lady about the color. Mm-hmm. I'm also very sensitive to color, and I found a light bulb that you can turn on to a specific color to help regenerate your chakra areas.
Ooh,
cool.
Really?
And I use that all the time.
You've got to share that on the blog. Share that on the Facebook page. That'd be awesome.
Okay. So it has a remote control. It has a remote control, and it has all the colors on it, and you can dim them and brighten them and turn it off and on, and then it also is just a regular light bulb. But you can buy it pretty much anywhere online. It's called Kodiak with a C, I think.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
It's not really expensive, but I've found it to be extremely helpful when I'm feeling a certain way and want to enhance that or change something. So.
Well, how do you know what color to turn
it to?
Yeah, how do you know what to turn it to? What color to? How do you know what color to put on?
So all the colors have a meaning, and if you look at like a chakra chart, you can kind of tell, which one they are. So like your throat chakra is green, and so if I'm feeling kind of like not real strong in communication, or that I need to talk more or get something out, I'll turn it on to green to stimulate that.
I thought the throat chakra was blue.
Maybe it is. I thought it was green. I could be wrong.
I don't know. Erik, what is it? Is it blue or green? Or maybe a little bit of both? Maybe
he kind of sings it to you. He says, "It's blue, Mama."
Okay. Then I was wrong. Sorry.
So, no, but they all have undertones too. Like the heart chakra is green, but it has pink in it too. So it doesn't mean you're wrong. It probably does have green in it. So because it's right above the green chakra.
Yeah, I kind of just go with my mood sometimes.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Do you just feel like I need this color? Do you ever just like intuitively know, I need to be surrounded by a little pink here going on?
Yeah, absolutely.
And lately I've been doing a lot of purple. So, anyways, my question is kind of a combination of the last few callers. I am empathic, and so sometimes I feel like that is confusing for me to stay on track or target. And I was just wondering if you could add anything to that.
Great question.
He says being in tune to your empathic abilities can be an incredible ability to have and to carry. You just have to know how to structure it. You have to know. He says you have to know how to fucking set limits. He says having your feelers out there is great. It's going to teach you a lot about your surroundings, but you've also got to pull those feelers back in sometimes and lock them the fuck up, he says. So he's really passionate about this. Can you tell?
Yeah, it's easier said than done.
Yeah, exactly.
I know.
So he says it's all about your mental state. It's all up here. He says you have to set intentions in awareness, carry awareness with you. If you're going to be out in public around a bunch of people, if there's a certain somebody that knows how to push your buttons, set your intentions to sort of harden a little bit, stiffen up a little bit, bring those walls up a little bit. But you have to be able to not let their energy come into yours. You don't internalize things that may, obviously make you feel less than yourself. And when that happens, you have to be able to also look in and identify it as not you, not the essence of you, and separate from it. So it's all about your intentions too, because as an empath, he says you can walk around and learn so much about the world around you if you just listen to what you feel and what you hear. Through all of those feelings, you can feel at every level. But if you're too turned on, he's like, keep your minds out of the gutter, people. He says, but if you're too turned on,
I knew it.
He says, if you're too turned on as an empath, you can really do quite the opposite. You can confuse yourself and create internal chaos. Mm-hmm. So you really have to just set your intentions and be very aware and very mindful of your feelers, he says. He's like, I could go all day. He says, we need to do a whole show on this, on being an empath.
Did he mention something about a specific person pushing buttons?
Yeah, he was just using that as an example for if there's someone.
Is there a person pushing buttons for her right now?
He's using a sarcastic tone. He's like, yeah, why do you think I mentioned that? He says, but it's going to happen. So if it hasn't already.
What does she do with that person? What does she do with that person? Just set boundaries?
He says you set boundaries. You can let them do what they need to do to suffice their own needs. But again, remember not to internalize others' actions, others' words, even others' nasty vibrations, he says. Just don't internalize them.
Yeah. Remember, as Erik says, that's theirs, that's not mine. That's not mine. You got to figure out what is yours and what is theirs.
Exactly.
I don't even think I know how to do that.
It just takes some reflection, basically.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
It's like, is that mine? Are those my negative emotions? Are these my feelings, or is it coming from somebody else?
Exactly. Yep.
All right. Well, we're going to have to close up here. Thank you so much for calling. And I want to tell you guys that you need to check out Kim Babcock at kimbabcock.net. That's KIMBABCOCK.net. Not com. And also I want to remind you that we got the blog, channelingerik.com. Erik is spelled with a K. And we've got an 8-city tour that's going to be launching pretty soon at the end of June. Check out the blog for that information. 8 cities, people, starting in Denver. And please check out Erik's wonderful book, My Life After Death. You want to know all about death, heaven, what life is going to be like for you as a spirit, etc. That book was very healing for me because now I really know everything about Erik's new life. Anything else you want to add, Erik or Kim?
Erik says, kind of wanting to build a little bit, he says, I love you all, and if you all took anything away from this, remember your own self-worth, he says. And he's pointing up, remember your connection to the divine. That's the authentic self.
We are all part and whole of God.
Yes, exactly. I thank you guys all for listening. And until next time, do what Erik says. Take a step out on your own. Listen to yourself and find your own connection with God. Really look for that authentic experience, that one-on-one intimate experience.
Well done. Good place to close. Thank you, liveparanormal.com, for giving us this ability. And I love you all, guys. I really do, and I'm not just saying that. And I hope you have a wonderful weekend.
Yes, you too. Take care, everybody. We'll talk to you next week.
And Erik, I love you, sweetie pie.
He says, I love you always, Mom. Good night.
Good night.